So what's going on, guys? This is Macrolink here, and in today's video I will talk about the greatest perks in TBD killer history right now. If they release a new amazing perks, I will have to update this list, but it would it won't be as sooner as it seems. This video will be quite long, but let's get to it. First perk we have is Bloodhound. What Bloodhound does is as follows: every pool of blood that survivors made while they're injured can be tracked for 2, 3, or 4 seconds longer than normal and are shown by a bright red. This is a great perk for amazing purposes. It's a great tracking tool, and you go right into the middle in the B tier. Then we have Colorophobia. Colorophobia does the following. While survivors are in your terror radius, they'll have a 30 or 40 or even 50% penalty to the healing. Basically, they'll heal slower. This is another amazing perk. While they are in your terror radius, it goes straight to the B tier, higher than Bloodhound. Then we have one of the GOAT perks from Huntress, that is Beast of Prey. Beast of Prey goes straight to the S tier, my guys. While when you reach Bloodlust tier 1, you'll get the undetectable, meaning that you have no terror radius. Oh my god, and only when you're in Bloodlust. And you'll gain 30, 40, or 50% more blood points in a hunter category. This is amazing, the best perk of the game. And it goes straight to the S tier, my boys. Then we have another Huntress perk that is called Territorial Imperative. This is a great perk. It goes straight to the A tier. What it does is the following. While you're further than 32 meters from the basement, you'll see the auras of survivors when they enter the basement for 3 seconds. This is amazing, guys. A great tracking tool to see if they go to your basement, your sex. No, forget that. It's amazing to track survivors. Then we have Zanshin Tactics. This perk, compared to the rest, is a trash perk. This goes straight to the D tier, my boys. What this does is the following. You see the aura of every pallet, breakable wall, and vaults within 24 meters. After you hit a survivor, Sunstreet Tactics will go into a 40, 35, or 30-second cooldown depending on rank. This is trash due to the fact that it gives you too much information, my guys, and it's really amazing for advanced players. Next up, we have Monster Shrine, another S tier perk. Oh my god, guys, this is amazing. When you hook a survivor in the basement, they'll get bonuses. They'll get a 3, 6, or 9% entity progression, depending on rank. They'll have 5, 10, 15 increased difficulty on escaped attempts, and they have a 3, 6, or 9 increased to penalty of escaping failed. This is amazing. You see its true power when you see a survivor simply getting off of the basement hook while you have this. It really doesn't make you feel like cutting your wrists. Then you have Insidious. Insidious is another great perk. It goes straight to the A tier. What it does is the following. After standing still for full 3 or 2 seconds, depending on rank, you'll get the undetectable, meaning you'll have no terror radius until you move again. Amazing. This is a great stealth perk, so you can surprise your survivors with a simple hello. Then we have distressing. Distressing is compared to the rest not that great. It just increases your terror radius and you get 100% more blood points. Oh my god, you guys, this is amazing. And we'll get to the next one. That is Furtive Chase. guys, this perk is it goes to the B tier. This perk creates an obsession. Every time you hook that obsession, you get a token up to 2, 3, or 4, depending on your rank, of the perk rank. And each token decreases your chair radius by 4 meters while you're in the chase. Amazing, guys. You'll be the spook factor while in chases. Oh, they won't see you coming. And it has a bonus benefit of every time an obsession is rescued by another survivor, that survivor becomes the new obsession. You'll be switching obsessions like it's a card game, my boys. Next up, it's Predator. Predator is another great tracking tool that goes straight into the A tier. Here, what this does is the following: every time a survivor leaves scratch marks, it will spawn slightly, moderately, or considerably closer together. You'll never let a survivor fool you ever again by using this bug. It's an amazing bug, my guys. You should always use it. Next up, it's Explode Favor. This bug is trash, but is better than Zanjing Tactics. Compared to the rest, it's trash, but it's a really good bug. Every time you hit an a survivor with a basic attack, all pallets within a 60%, 60 meters of your location or stand still, they cannot be pulled down by anyone for 50 seconds. It has a cooldown of 1 minute, 50 seconds, or 40 seconds, depending on rank. You see the true value of this expert when you're hitting a survivor while they're pulling down a pallet. It's amazing. But remember that it's also an expert, meaning that you probably will get a lot of value if this is found first, my dudes. Then we have Mad Grit. Mad Grit does what it does what it does this. Each time while you're carrying a survivor, remember, you suffer no cooldown on miss attacks. You can spam it that shit like it's like it's nothing. And every time uh, a survivor is hit while you're carrying the other survivor, their wiggle timer is stand still for 2, 3, or 4 seconds, depending on rank. This perk, it has its greatness, so it goes to the C tier of this great tier list. Then we have Gearhead. Gearhead is mm, the best generator tracking tool there is in the market, my boys. After hitting a survivor 2 times with your basic attack, Gearhead activates for 20, 25, or 30 seconds. Each time a survivor completes a good skill check while repairing, the generator will be revealed by a yellow aura. It's amazing, guys. It goes also to the C tier. Then we have Heckman's Trick, best perk of the game, alongside Monster Shrine and Beast of Prey. What it does is the following: make this, yes. You gain a notification when a survivor begins sabotaging a hook. It because the hook sabotaging takes too long these days. And while carrying a survivor, you see the aura of anyone that is within 2, 4, or 6 meters of any hook. It's amazing. A great tracking tool and a great method to know which hook is being sabotaged, because it really takes that long to sabotage a hook. Yeah, what can I say? God Sparks, the Trinity. It's amazing. Let's continue with next one. Blood Warden. Blood Warden is a C tier perk. C is a C tier perk. Why is that? Because each time an exit gate is opened, the auras of any survivors are revealed to you while they're in the exit area. When you need it the most, you'll see them, and you'll scratch your, you'll rub your palms. and once per trial or per game, every time you hook a person while you're while the exit gates are open, you can block both exits for 30, 40, or 60 seconds. It This has the true value when you see all four survivors leaving you, and you can see them leaving. And you can see the true potential of this perk, because you can see them teabagging at the exit, all four of them teabagging at the exit, waiting for you to show up so they can leave. It shows that true power. Then we have overwhelming presence into the other terror radius perks, because what this does is, while survivors are within your terror radius, their items consumption rates are increased by 80, 90, or 100%. This is amazing perk, guys. As you can see, if survivors don't bring items, they'll still get affected by overwhelming presence. It's amazing perk, you know, because survivors, when they don't bring items, they'll be screwed with this perk. Then we have Tiny Light. It's almost S tier, my dudes. Because in the beginning of the game, you create an obsession, and that obsession gains a buff for altruistic actions. My boys, it's great. In the beginning of the game, you have jack shit, but the obsession has 33% action speed bonus to altruism. And each time you hook a survivor that is not the obsession, while the obsession is alive, you gain a token that that uh, that gives a penalty of 2.5, or 3%, and repair, healing, or sabotage for every other survivor except the obsession. Woohoo! You'll be feeling the true power when you're 1v1ing with a survivor with 8 stacks of dying light. That's where you'll remember that this is a great perk, my dudes. Next up is Exert Seal. It's an X totem, meaning that this will do a lot if they close in first. And what it does is the following: it applies blindness for every 2 or 3 or 4 survivors that you hit. It's amazing. So when they're playing survival with friends, this will truly shine at what it does, giving them blindness. Then you'll have cruel limits. It's an STO perk, of course it is. If you want to win every game, please bring Fists of Prey, Hangman Streak, Monster Shrine, and Cruel Limits. All of those perks are amazing. A god tier build is like this. What Cruel Limits does is the following. Each time a generator is repaired, all windows and vault locations within 32 meters of the completed generator are blocked for all survivors for 20, 25, or 30 seconds. You can see the true potential of this perk when you're in the corner of the map, and the generator is done in the other corner. Going there and see that nothing is blocked is amazing, guys. And you see that no survivor is there. It's the best thing ever. And finally, we have Unnerving Presence. It's a turn radius perk. Survivors within your turn radius have a 10% greater chance of triggering skill checks, and the skill checks are reduced for by 40, 50, or 60%, depending on rank. What can I say? It's a terminus, but now I'll start. I'll stop with the mimings and talk about ways to make the perks better, in my opinion. Uh, I think they're all in the best the spot that they deserve to be. The SD, of course, is the bottom tier, and it is kind of mediocre. Let's talk about the SDF first. last, let's start with the D tier. Let's start with the Zanjin Tactics. Zanjin Tactics has the problem of Bloodhound and Predator, meaning that it's a beginner's perk. Uh, the information that it gives is great, it's reliable, but once you're an advanced killer, you have nothing. You already know where the pallets are. You already know what the windows are and what they do, and what survivors will act and how to act them. And you basically you know everything where the vault locations are. This does nothing for advanced, but it does wonders for beginners. If this was a beginner tier list, for killer, this would be probably high priority. The counterparts, like Windows of Opportunity, if I do, if I ever do a Survivor like tier list like this, Survivor perks, I'll put the Windows of Opportunity in the same spot as engines, due to the fact that they both do wonders for beginners, but nothing for advanced players. A ways to buff it is just do some, do more than just tracking. Just tracking faults and bugs because you already knew that. Maybe again, uh, extra points like barbecue and chili or stuff like that. Probably, I don't know, this go down as well. But other than that, it's a amazing beginner's perk. Horrible advanced players perk. Then we have X, X, uh, the X blood favor. Yeah, the problem with this perk are two big problems. It's unreliable, and the range is just so small. And it has a third problem, and it's an X perk. Ways to buff it: increase the range, decrease the cooldown, or just remove the X, make it a normal perk. Under that, what it does is amazing. Blocks pallets, makes the survivors not able to save them while they're hiding below a pallet. The cheeky save. But the problem is just too little. The range only blocks at maximum 2 pallets. It really doesn't do much for you, but still, it has its value. It it's clunky. It's not really reliable because it won't block the when you're hitting a survivor while they're putting it down. It won't block that pallet. It will go down. It will get distance, and yeah, and I can loop you. So yeah, or do a thing where if you hit while they're pulling it down, break immediately or stuff like that, and then you get stunned anyways, but it still breaks automatically. I don't know. Next up is Gearhead. Gearhead is too much for too little. You need to hit a survivor twice to make it work, and what it does isn't really that good. You get better value with the discordance than with Gearhead, and discordance is basically just two survivors doing a generator, and you already know what they're doing. It doesn't require 3 hits, or you need to vote 5 times to make this perk happen, and you only get it for X amount of time. My god, it's just too much for too little. If any is while you're playing against advanced players, when they don't hit good skill checks, they hit great. This perk is useless. It's useless. It just works in good, not every skill check. What happens when Gearhead when they face a survivor that only hits great skill checks? It does nothing. Ways to buff it. Every time they hit a skill check, the, the generator goes yellow while they're repaying it, and adds increase the duration or make it that they last forever while they're working. If they stop working, so the ability stops working. The generator returns to red, stuff like that. Or just simply increase the unnerving presence, increase the chance of getting a skill check, and probably will buff it. Or make it also work without the two hit requirement to make it work. Too, as I said, too much for too little, or increase the value, or decrease the requirement. One of those two can make the get ahead off of this mean tier list and up to mediocrity at best. It requires a little bit more buffs than just this. Then we have Medgrit. Um, when I said that Medgrit's true power comes with solo play, it's amazing. Your Medgrit is a problem that you require that is Bloodborne also has. For example, that you require that survivors you're depending too much on survivors, then you won't skill. You're you're basically praying with Medgrit to make it work that survivors will try to block you to the hook. That's it. If survivors try to block you to the hook, you can hit them and it'll do wonders. It'll make it regret their decisions. And if they're playing with survive the friends, if you hit them, oh my god, I'm not wiggling. What happened? Ah, you must have Medgrit. They'll simply stop and try to bait you to hitting them and trying to dodge. A good, if you want to use Medgrit, I can recommend a combo that is Agitation and Medgrit. Agitation, you make it so they can walk faster than a survivor, not by much, but faster. It's enough to keep up and hit them if they are trying to be all altruistic. Buffs, I don't know, really. It suffers from the problem that it the Medgrit does one thing, does when the thing happens, it does wonders. If the thing doesn't happen, it's useless. You're depending too much on the survivor side to be altruistic, to punish them, then your own skill. Uh, Ways to buff it, I don't know, really. Increase the, do something else, or increase the duration. Who knows? Then we have distressing. Distressing only works in two different ways to counter object of obsession, because it only works while you're outside the terrorities, or in the meme doctor build that you want the full terror radius. That this doesn't work at all greatly to another killer. If you want a stealth killer, you won't use distressing. If you want a normal killer and you want you're playing with a normal killer, you won't be needed distressing for nothing. Only use distressing if you're for 100% know that you're going to play against newer players or in a meme build for doctor, or if you need a greater terrorist to counter object of obsession. Other than that, this perk is pointless. The points are extra or plus. Uh, Once you you kept the 8,000 points. It won't go further. So for the point side, this is worthless, and pretty much it. The only good thing is for the calm doctor build to shock everyone in the beginning of the game or each time you have the chance. Next up is Blood Warden. As I said before, for Medgrit, this perk suffers when it works. It's the best perk, honestly. If if they are on the end game collapse and it reached a point that is only 1 minute, you have the rank 3 of Blood Warden, and you hook a survivor, they cannot leave. They cannot leave the game. They will be or sacrificed or killed by the entity. This is the greatest perk when it works, useless when it doesn't. It's 80, it's 8 or 80, nothing in between. And a way to buff it is simply put give stuff before the exit gates are open. Block the exit gates or make it regression when they're not doing it. Because in the current meta we are, that 99 gates, Blood Warden won't do nothing. Because they will wait for every survivor to be safe or one of them being chased to open and leave. And Blood Warden, as once again, depends on the altruistic of people and the teabagging and toxicity. If you have one person on the ground, you require literally one person on the ground for a lot of time, and the other ones are still waiting, trying to get to save him. That's the perfect way to make this perk work. Other than that, it's useless. Ways to buff it, I said it before. Uh, Block the exit gates. It needs to do something before the exit gates are open. It needs to do something before. This is the only really late game perk. In that time, that you're basically accepted your loss. When it works, is a second chance, of course, but 99% of the times this won't do nothing or won't do as you expect or won't work. Simply put, this perk is counted by keys because it can open an edge and it won't work in edges as well. So yeah, let's continue with furtive chase. The problem with furtive chase is that the decretion of the terror radius only happens during the chase. Why? The rest of it is fine. I don't have an issue with bugs that give obsessions, but why during the chase? Why? If this was an overall decrease, decrease, no, the if this just did all around in every time, not in while in a chase and off the chase, this would be an amazing, probably top tier perk. But only on the chase, really? With survival with friends, this perk does nothing. Because the survivor that's being chased knows that he's being chased. The others know that he's being chased and they can communicate where they're heading. It's not really that worth it to bring it, in my opinion. But then again, with the small buffs, this can be out of this tier list. Literally, this could be in the this can that can go from B tier, from a meme list to a C tier to a great for really the best tier lists. If the if the decretion of the terrorist is affected by everything in and off chase. That's it. Next up is Bloodhound. Bloodhound suffers the problem I said before with Sanchin Tactics and Predator that is a beginner's perk. Why is the only thing that does it's basically give blood more time and make it bright red. Why is this not A tier or TS tier? Due to the fact that this perk really helps people with coloring issues and does with the brightness issue. And you see that it's really red. It can be easy to track for newer players. It's amazing, but for the advanced players, only works if you have problems distinguishing colors. Because the normal color can be sometimes almost the same as the ground and can leave some issues. So people with difficulties in distinguishing colors should bring Bloodhound. Should consider bringing Bloodhound every game to help them and making the game easier for them instead of harder. Next up is the trio. We're talking the three at the same time: Chorophobia, uh, unnerving presence, and overwhelming presence. Unnerving presence is the best one out here because most of the time survivors will be trying to rush a generator down while they're in your terror radius. In situations of stress when it's the last generator there is and they need their adrenaline and stuff like that. This can be really useful if if they're beginners. That's the problem because great players they know how to hit skill checks, so increasing doesn't do much. In a build where it's anti anti skill checks like Hunter's Lullaby, Unnerving Presence, Overcharge, this Unnerving Presence can be the glue that combines everything. And other than that, it's not really useful. Yeah, that's why it's in the B tier. Overwhelming presence, as I said before, if they don't bring items, this perk does nothing. Does really nothing. It's great. You see the true value of the perks that require something out of survivors when they don't have it. There's nothing. But when it works, it's really not that great. It's to basically make sure that the items deplete faster, which can be great, but meh. It's meh, too much meh. This works when your flashlights can combine the cold phobia, and for medkits can combine with the nerving presence, with the with the toolboxes. But really, it doesn't work on firecrackers because it doesn't have for nothing, and pretty much it. It also works on maps, and yeah, cold generally. Why is the worst of this for generally? Survivors won't heal while they're in the terror radius because the killer can hear them healing. So yeah, they won't heal while they're in the terror radius, and if they're self-carrying, they see plus the phobia, they simply give up and go to the place. Remember that survivors that are injured will play a lot safer than usual because they're afraid to go down unless they're really sure of it and can loop you for a lot of time. Other than that, you shouldn't bring this. Uh, this doesn't give you great value. Next up is Exothil, the worst of the hexes. Why? Why is that? Because it basically does too little. Too little. It only gives you blindness. For solo queue, this can be great. Can be great, but generally they'll do the X and it's gone. Does nothing. These extra perks in general need the passive when they are cleansed to do something because sometimes a lot of the times experts doesn't expert doesn't work in the beginning. Ruin doesn't work. Power Hope doesn't work. Lullaby doesn't work. Third Seal doesn't work. Blood Feather doesn't work. Only literally, basically, Thrill of the Hunt works in the beginning. The other X perks doesn't work, and Undying also works in the beginning. The other perks don't work in the beginning, meaning that if they're removed in the early, really, when you begin the game, after 10 seconds they're removed, they done nothing. And still, only blindness? I mean, come on. At least favor blocks pallets and block more than one pallet at the same time. Yeah, it has a massive cooldown, sure, but it blocks pallets. Pallets are more worth it than blindness. Of course, can counter object of obsession. You go after the object of obsession, you whack them, and they stay blind. They cannot see you, but you can see them. Sure. Counter maps, sure. But it's an X perk, and they said it that hack perks won't be. They always will be hexes. So third seal will always be a hex perk. So please, for the love of God, give something for X third seal. Give oblivious. Make it oblivious. Each time you hit a survivor for 1, 2, or 3, they have the oblivious as effect. I mean, come on. Oblivious is so much better than blindness. It increases the spooky factor. But yeah, that's the only thing. The only buff is giving oblivious, and this perk gets immediately off of this list. Then we have Predator. Predator, as I said before, suffers the same problem as Bloodhound and Sunshine Statics. It's a beginner's perk, and yeah, but seriously consider it's great for newer killers to track down survivors, but the scratch marks are too unreliable to trust that really, if they take the buff, they will be there. It's too unreliable. Make it last longer, I guess, to buff it. Honestly, I don't know. But for beginners player, of course, bring Predator Bloodhound Suns in statics and it will be Nowhere if you want. In fact, they shouldn't bring Nowhere. They can bring habits, but he should be great to go. Under that, I don't know how to buff it. He may, he should receive a major rework, but let's get to it. Next up is Insidious. Insidious does one thing right. Camping. A basement built with monster shrine with territorial imperative and with no territorial imperative cannot be Insidious. Insidious, and if you found territorial imperative, can be a great and basement build. The problem with Insidious is that you're you're basically sacrificing pressure to camping. Camping in general sacrifices your pressure and relies on the on first off solo queue and second of all altruism. You're requiring that you require something from the survivors. I know that some perks that require some stupidity or altruism or something from the survivors are great, but it's a rare occurrence, really. Honestly, it's a rare occurrence. Insidious just does one thing and doesn't do really well. It's camping. If literally they can see you, they'll basically trying to kill themselves. That's it, and you'll waste time, and they do generators. And your main objective of it is killing everyone, not letting them just kill one to sacrifice one guy and destroy your entire game, your entire pressure for one guy. That's why he's in the A tier of this amazing tier list. Then we have territorial imperative. The problem with this is just easy formation is just too little. 3 seconds is nothing. Give it permanent aura while they're in the basement, and decrease their range of activation. And this should be nice. Just 3 seconds. Yes, you can see that they are going there. You can go there. The basement only has one exit. But if you can't see them going to the locker, it really makes them. And you go there, uh, grab them out of the locker and put in the basement, and you see what they're doing there. It's just too powerful. It's great. That's what this perk needs to be great or okay, because they can suicide in the hook if they see you that you're near, blah blah blah. But giving permanent aura reading or killer instinct or something like that would make this work a lot better and out of this tier list entirely. That is simply a meme build, and always shall be a meme. Well, if it's not changed. Then we have Dying Light. Dying Light has the major, major issue of the obsession having immediately buffs, giving uh, giving giving survivors buffs. It's a major downfall for a perk, and Dying Light is the great example of it. You in the beginning you have nothing. The survivors have no regression, no problem doing nothing, and the obsession has already have a buff. You need to work for your for the regression to work, while the obsession already has it from the beginning by existing. Is this fair? No. Does it need a rework? Yes. Why does this doesn't work while the obsession is alive? The obsession has the perk of altruism. I mean, come on. If you kill the obsession, Dying Light doesn't do anything. It needs a major rework again. It should have it should make the obsession also have the regression of healing, of repairing, have the effect by the tokens. Of course, it won't be enough to defeat the buff, but it should be doing something to the obsession, and the obsession should be affected by it. Or simply don't give the buff to obsession. Simply don't give anything to obsession. If this perk only works while the obsession is alive, the obsession doesn't need nothing. Doesn't need any buffs. Remove the buff or simply make it so the debuffs can work on the obsession. And the obsession must save the four survivors. You must save four survivors to have the benefits, the buffs. It doesn't. The this is too much trash. It's almost in this S tier, but it's some really one build. This can be good, and the Legion can be great. I guess I'm really making this too much headache for putting this in the 8, justifying myself in the 8 tier. So I don't know. Yeah. Next up, we have crew limits. Crew limits has the major issue of it. It isn't a threat. It isn't a threat. Why? Why this isn't a threat? First simple reason is just Windows, and it's around the generator. It's not around the killer. As I mentioned before, if a killer is in one corner and a generator is done in the other corner, when the killer goes there, he will see no survivors and no windows blocked. So this this needs to be making so the pellets are useless. They cannot drop pellets, and needs to be around the killer. And or the timer should be increased and make so that survivors are stuck in that time in that area for for a little time, 5 seconds maybe. Only then they can leave. But it's too much pressure for survivors. So probably around the killer and also affecting pallets. Probably won't crew limits will not lift this tier list, but it will decrease baby to C tier. And yeah, that's it for crew limits. Monster Shrine. As I said before, you see the true power of this perk when you see a survivor leaving the hook in the basement while you're having this perk. The decretion of of the probability to escape is for 4%. Is 50% of 4%, meaning that it's 3% basically. That's pretty much the same. Uh, and you might be wondering when you're watching those percentage and that watching the perk MX Rain. You think, maybe they'll just have two opportunities. Wrong. They'll have three at they'll have three opportunities. So yeah, the timer isn't really that much. The survivor can stay there chilling, and the other ones do generators. You'll still get punished for doing for staying there or making sure that you'll die. But yeah, doesn't do much this break. It seems like it does a lot, but it does little. Ways to buff it. Make it so that this will be a counter to deliverance, making instead of 100% living of way a good counter for Monster Shrines deliverance, but making the other way. Make it instead of 100% 50%, 1 in 2, 50%, so that you have some counterplay, so that deliverance can have some counterplay. And that make sure that instead of 4 makes it 2, instead of 3 opportunities make it 2, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Make it more punishing being the basement than being a normal hook. Right now it's not as punishing. Next up is Hangman Streak. I don't know. I really don't know what to do with this perk. So you gain a notification when they start doing a hook. That's great. The problem, the hook is gone in 2 seconds or 3. Nowadays hooks are gone in 3 seconds. If this was in the first patch, while hooks took too long and were permanent, probably Hangman Streak would be top tipper right now. when hooks can respawn. Before they couldn't. In the beginning, they couldn't. Now they can respawn, and it only takes 3 seconds to sabotage. The notification is worthless. Your reading is nice, but if it was as well, if it worked while you're not carrying a survivor as well. While you're carrying, of course, it's nice to see if they don't go for the cheeky sabotage or stuff like that. But it's not. The range is not that great as well. It's too little. If you want to see, you can see the area. You can see, oh my god, that guy is cheeking, trying to get a flashlight safe or stuff like that. Saying sabotage. I can go to the other one. The range is just so little. They can literally run, do it, and go away. That is pretty much it. Ways to buff it, increase the range, make sure that our reading is is working also without carrying a survivor. A really nice thing, since this is a hangman streak, you can and a cool little neat. You can hook 2 survivors in the same hook. That would be neat. A great way to make this perk unique and powerful at the same time. But I don't know if that is possible or not. But yeah, it would be great if they if it did that. Last but not least, Beast of Prey. This is the bottom most trash perk out there. Why is that? First off, you need to have bloodlust to this to work, meaning that you have to chase a little bit with a survivor and not getting any hit. Then it only gets undetectability. What? A tier 1, it will, and you will lose after hitting a survivor, breaking a pallet, or simply running away, giving up. You will lose your undetectability. What? Why? Why this only works in Bloodlust Tier 1? And why does this require the Bloodlust to be undetectable? Why? This is too much trash. Ways to buff it. Simply put, you gain a highest movement speed while you reach a Bloodlust Tier 1. If you want to maintain the Bloodlust Tier 1 whatever, gain a highest movement speed by 5%, 4%, so you can catch up easily to make chases that is already taking too long less. Pretty much this it. That's it. It probably goes to SD to the B there, probably. It's trash. But it does a lot better than it does now. Well, this is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this hi, long video. Like and subscribe. Ring the notification bell. For every like this video gets, you receive a virtual kiss of mine, and subscribe to join the giveaway of 3 kisses, mine personally. This has been Microlink, and I hope you enjoyed this video.